Here's a powerful, emotional, long-form story with strong hooks for Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, written to keep viewers engaged till the very end. Fire hook for video start. He was a broken man who had stopped believing in love. A single father who thought every promise ends in betrayal. But when he looked into the eyes of a powerful CEO and asked, "Why are you different from other women?" he had no idea that her answer would not only change his life, but heal a wound he had carried for years. Chapter 1, The Man Who Stopped Believing. Rain tapped softly against the glass windows of the small cafe. Daniel sat quietly in the corner, his fingers wrapped around a cup of coffee that had long gone cold. His eyes weren't focused on the street outside, they were lost somewhere far deeper. 3 years ago, his life had fallen apart. His wife, the woman he trusted more than anyone, walked out without warning. No explanation, no apology, just a note, and silence. What hurt the most wasn't just the betrayal. It was the emptiness she left behind for their 6-year-old daughter, Lily. Daniel became everything overnight: father, mother, protector, provider. He worked double shifts, skipped meals, and smiled when he didn't feel like smiling, all for Lily. She was the only reason he kept going. But love, trust, relationships, he buried those ideas deep inside. They don't last, he would tell himself. They always leave. One evening, his boss called him unexpectedly. "Daniel, I need you to deliver these documents personally to the CEO tomorrow morning." Daniel frowned. The CEO? Why me? Because she asked for someone reliable. Reliable. That word stayed with him. The next morning, Daniel stood in front of a towering glass building, a world far from his own. Everything looked polished, perfect, almost unreal. He felt out of place in his simple clothes, holding a worn-out folder. When he entered the office, the receptionist smiled politely and directed him upstairs. And that's when he met her. Sophia. She wasn't what he expected. No arrogance, no cold attitude, no superiority. She stood by the window, sunlight falling gently across her face, her expression calm, almost kind. "You must be Daniel," she said softly. Her voice wasn't sharp like others in power. It carried warmth. He nodded, slightly uncomfortable. "I brought the documents." Instead of immediately taking them, she offered him a seat. "Sit for a moment. You look tired." That caught him off guard. People didn't notice things like that anymore. "I'm fine," he replied quickly. But she didn't insist. She simply smiled, as if she understood. Over the next few minutes, something strange happened. They talked. Not about business. Not about work. But about life. She asked about his daughter. And when he spoke about Lily, his voice softened in a way he hadn't noticed before. Sophia listened. Really listened. No interruptions. No distractions. For the first time in years, Daniel didn't feel invisible. Days turned into occasional meetings. Meetings turned into conversations. And slowly, something inside him began to shift. But fear still lived there. Because every time he felt a little warmth, his past whispered, "Don't trust it." One evening, after a long day, they sat across from each other in silence. And that's when Daniel finally asked the question that had been building inside him. He looked straight at her and said, "Why are you different from other women?" The room went still, and her answer would change everything. Chapter 2, The Answer That Changed Everything. Sophia didn't respond immediately. She didn't look offended. She didn't get defensive. Instead, she smiled gently. Not the kind of smile that hides something, but the kind that reveals pain and strength at the same time. "Because I've known what it feels like to be left behind," she said quietly. Daniel's expression shifted. He wasn't expecting that. Sophia walked toward the window, her voice calm but heavy with truth. "I wasn't always like this. I used to believe in people, blindly. I trusted someone once, with everything I had." She paused. "And one day, he left. Not because I wasn't enough, but because he didn't know how to stay." Daniel felt something tighten in his chest. Her words felt familiar. Too familiar. "I broke," she continued. "But instead of becoming bitter, I made a choice." She turned to face him. I decided I would never become the kind of person who causes that pain to someone else. Silence filled the room. Daniel swallowed hard. She stepped closer, her voice softer now. Being different isn't about being perfect, Daniel. It's about choosing kindness, even when life hasn't been kind to you. That sentence hit him like a wave. For years, he had built walls. Not just to protect himself, but unknowingly, to block out the very thing he needed, connection. Sophia didn't try to fix him. She didn't promise anything. She simply stayed, consistent, honest, and real. Weeks passed. Daniel noticed the little things. She kept her word. She respected his time. She cared about Lily, not as an obligation, but genuinely. One evening, Lily met Sophia for the first time. Daniel was nervous, but Lily, with her innocent heart, ran up to Sophia and hugged her within minutes. "Papa, she's nice," Lily whispered. Daniel looked at Sophia, and for the first time in years, the fear inside him felt smaller. Not gone, but weaker. Months later, Daniel found himself sitting in the same cafe where his story began. But this time, the coffee wasn't cold. And he wasn't alone. Sophia sat across from him, smiling softly as Lily laughed beside them. Life wasn't perfect, but it was real. And sometimes, real is more beautiful than perfect. Daniel looked at Sophia, his voice steady now. "I think I understand now." She tilted her head slightly. "Understand what?" He smiled. "Why you're different." She raised an eyebrow playfully. "And," he took a deep breath, "because you chose to be." Sophia smiled, and in that moment, no words were needed. Glowing star final message for ending. Not everyone who walks into your life will stay. But that doesn't mean everyone will leave. Some people are different, not because they never felt pain, but because they refused to pass it on. And sometimes, all it takes is one real person to make you believe again. If you want, I can also create. Checkmark 10 viral image prompts for this story. Checkmark YouTube title, description, SEO keywords, hashtags. Checkmark thumbnail text ideas for high center. Just tell me thumbs up.